All right, let's talk LSU Tigers regular season, not far away. Very exciting team to talk about, of course, down in Baton Rouge. And look, for people who aren't familiar with this channel, one of the things we always like to focus on is sort of high level discussions and smart strategic decisions, either made at the highest levels of a program or sometimes at the player level. And here we've got a very exciting report at the player level for the LSU Tigers. I think it's a really smart move, and I think will pay dividends for them during the 2023 campaign.
Yeah, Nick, I think there's nothing more special in college football than when the players can, kind of gather up and get behind something. This is an LSU team that has done just that. So, this story, LSU fans, you're going to love this one. Stay tuned for that. But speaking of the players, speaking of the upcoming season, LSU fans, I want to know in the comments below today, who do you think the breakout player this season is going to be? We've seen all of the spring ball, we've seen all of fall camp so far. The season is right around the corner. So, let us know before it starts. Who is your breakout player this season? There's a lot of great players on the field, but one of them is going to break out, and we want you to tell us who in the comment section below. But Nick, let's get on into it. What is this movement rather, going on at LSU?
Yeah, so obviously, anytime you got a program like LSU, they're one of the blue bloods in college football. They're extremely talented, top five program in the country. It's important to get a framing and a mindset, and a lot of that has to happen at the player level. The coaches can say whatever they want, and the players will fall out to a certain degree. But the leadership's from the players' perspective that'll actually drive the direction and the mentality of the team. But the quarterback Jayden Daniels has come out with a lot of really smart moves in terms of setting themselves up with a great strategy. We've got a report from Outkick.com, Mize. If you want to throw it up, I will read from it. All right. LSU is already trying to play the us against the world card with the college football season thankfully upon us. Preseason expectations across college football are being set. The USC Trojan players clearly believe they're set to compete for a national title, even though many others disagree. Few people would doubt that the LSU Tigers are in playoff contention, except LSU themselves, apparently. Starting quarterback Jayden Daniels recently gave out Beats headphones to his teammates with what's supposed to be an inspirational message. On the headphones or on the card with the phones, there was a message that said, quote, "They all doubt us." The note reads, "It's us against the world. Let's lock in and finish what we started, 1-0 mentality." All right, there's a lot of different things to unpack there and a lot of things to like. First of all, giving out Beats headphones to your teammates, that's awesome. All right, that's an incredible move by Daniels because it's just a nice little leadership gesture, a little team bonding thing. So from that perspective, great job by Daniels. But I actually want to really appreciate the message that Daniel said here from the player level. Because look, I played college football. I played Division I AA, FCS level college football. And I tell you this, I'm pretty sure it's probably the exact same thing at every other level, every other team in college football. Day one of fall camp, you show up to fall camp, and the head coach has some weird, lame slogan, some lame message that says, "This is our theme for the year. This is what we're doing." 1 year for me, Mize, when I was playing, it was act as if. Act as if. Don't even know what that means. No one knew what it means. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, right? It's like, why do we have this slogan? It's not helping anything at all. It's just something the coaches came up with, and just everyone ran with it just because the coach wanted it to be a slogan, a saying, a theme, a motto. And it totally made no sense at all. And we stunk that year. I don't know. The slogan wasn't the reason we stunk. It certainly didn't help. This is the opposite, right? When you have something like this from a player level, finish what we started. I love that framing because the context is, we are going to build beyond of what we did last year, right? Everyone's already talking about expectations, and it's all about finishing what we started. I love that mentality because it implies that you're already getting there. You just need to stay focused and finish. I don't like things when we talk about, oh, this is our goal for this year. I kind of like setting up program year to year to year, building off each other mentality. And that's what we're seeing from Jayden Daniels. And I really like it from the quarterback. I think it's a smart move by him, Mice. But let me throw it over to you now. What are your thoughts on this report involving LSU and just everything with the Tigers right now?
Yeah, Nick, I mean, I think everything lines up perfectly because if you're LSU, you're an incredibly talented team. You're a team that was one of the best teams in college football last year. A couple of tough breaks keep you out of the college football playoff. You know, Kelly, if you get a faster start in the season, I think this team is in the college football playoff. They had a slow start. Unfortunately, they didn't get off the ground running, but at the end of the year, they finished incredibly strong. Now you go into this season, the AP polls are out. LSU's ranked number 5. They might take that as okay, they're good, but that is people doubting them in their minds. They want to be number 1. They think they're the
That's a
best
great point.
team in the college football landscape. So they're thinking, you think there's 4 teams ahead of us who are better than us? We have our starting quarterback back. We have a lot of pieces on this team that are back. We are one of the best teams out here. So I can see that. I love that Daniels is getting in there, like you said, building morale, buying his teammates gifts, giving inspirational messages. He's acting like another coach in the locker room, and you love when you have that player coach in the locker room who can help get the team started, help get the team going, because that's one of the harder jobs as a coach. You have a lot of other things to do. Now Kelly can focus on game planning, stuff like that. He's probably going to come in and motivate the guys, but when you don't have to because your player has stepped up to try to motivate the guys, that's something special, and that's when teams bond and form. It reminds me of like a, an Ed Reed or Ray Lewis type in a locker room, always talking to the guys, getting everybody going. That's the kind of leader that Jayden Daniels is turning himself into. And that's why I think
And Miles, I want to just interrupt you right there because you bring up a fantastic point. I think it's really important here is that when I was playing, what the coaches said a lot of times, 99 times out of 100, especially when they're trying to be motivational and inspirational, in one ear, out the other. When a player in the context of the locker room said something, a lot more receptive from me personally and from the rest of the guys in the locker room. So it really matters, right? For people that sit there and say, well, what does this really matter? Trust me, coming from the quarterback, coming from a guy in the locker room, it really matters. And to your point, we've seen a lot of historical evidence of it.
Yeah, and peer to peer is always more effective, isn't it? Like
Oh, yeah.
coaches, they've been around the block. Chip Kelly's like, what? I really don't know how old he is, but he's like 70 some years old. A guy walks in the locker room, he doesn't understand the players, but Jayden Daniels, their peer to peer, always going to be much better, like you said. So that's a great point, Nick. And I think LSU just, once again, they're rounding up. This schedule sets up really perfectly for LSU going forward. And I think this is going to be a really exciting year to watch this team play football.